Yes, yes, great decision coming to watch this video. Hope you are well. And yeah, this is actually a super beneficial one because ultimately it's you're sort of one of two people when it comes to moving out of routine and going places, holidays, traveling, family, social events, etc. And you either get too worked up about it and sort of stress out, and that will affect you negatively. Like, oh, how can I make sure I'm still on plan, etc. Or the latter end of the scale, where you are probably not aligning your goals as much as aligning your actions to your goals as much as you should be, realistically, which can obviously have a negative effect on those goals. And so ultimately, it's finding that fine balance, which is what I talk about in this, which is super beneficial. So yeah, let's get straight into it. How to carry your routine with you everywhere while still having fun, because that is the important part, right? Life is not living out of a Tupperware. Unless you're Chris Bumstead, have those 1 in a billion genetics, and they're going to make thousands of pounds off of bodybuilding. Or unless your goals are super, super valuable to you, which they should be to everyone, but like I mean, super, super important, then realistically shouldn't be living out of a Tupperware. I'm on it like 24/7 pretty much, but if I do have time away, holidays, travels, work events, etc., then I very much sort of run with this routine. So yeah, let's get into it. Number one, step one is don't be a dick. This is the first mindset adaptation that I want you to sort of adopt as quickly as possible when it comes to going off of plan. So ultimately, if you are stepping out of routine, it's for these reasons: socializing, reset, family, events, holidays, yeah, work things, general trips, going to see someone, going to meet someone new. There's so many reasons why you might have to step out of routine or choose to step out of routine. And ultimately, these are all important things that add to your life positively. It's not often you're going to step out of your routine for a negative reason. You're not just going to go and smash 10 Jaeger bombs at the bar. I would hope if you're watching this video. So, yeah, it's going to be for a positive reason, which is important, right? Move my face out of the way of my fat tricep. So, you don't have to let it take away from your goals because they are also very important. And a lot of the time, people will sort of forget how important their goals are as soon as they have that sort of sense of freedom. Because the human condition is sort of loving to be comfortable while also always wanting more. And sometimes wanting more can be slightly negative, like more comfort, more pleasure. Pleasure is very different to sort of happiness, and it doesn't really play too much of a role when it comes to a lot of goals, whether that's business, fitness, etc. So just being wary of that by thinking to yourself, right, I'm not going to be a dick. So yeah, obviously, so just don't be a dick. This means do what you can. It's your choice to pursue your goals, and it's a privilege you can do that. And so when routine breaks, don't use it as an excuse to be a dick. Yeah, so you've just got to remind yourself that realistically, it is literally a privilege that you have the ability to chase a goal. You are in the position to eat good food out of a Tupperware. Family event to get you more muscle or to get you leaner. You are in the position to work off of your computer remotely to try and build that position. That is amazing. And remembering that this isn't something that you've been forced to do. You could quit at any point, right? You might end up looking more like this guy compared to this guy, but you can literally quit whenever you want, right? It's down to you. So you have completely made that decision to get after that goal, and just reminding yourself of that is extremely important. But yeah, let's obviously break this down in some more detail. And I've sort of split it into food, training, and recovery because that's the three fundamentals for physique development, right? And then you can sort of take these things into all aspects of your life. Excuse me. So, yeah, obviously, food first and foremost. So, this is considering that you want to progress towards your goal. If not, then fine, do what you want. Yeah, so that's a bit of a just a, I guess, sort of protect your mind, right? Because if you see this and think, fucking no way am I going to meal prep when I go to a family event or a social event. That's stupid. What the fuck are you talking about? Then fine. If your goals aren't that important to you and you don't feel the need to do that, then that's absolutely sound. And so that's why I've sort of done a scale here, which shows you sort of briefly how I view it. And it is sort of different for everyone, but this is obviously gotten me the results I have. Just for a bit of background, 20 years old, had my own business, coaching people, and yeah, done pretty well with like bodybuilding shows, physique development, and all of that stuff. So I would say I have genuinely got the knowledge, to be able to sort of state stuff like this. So yeah, that's why I've done a bit of a scale. Where obviously the most ideal scenario is you can meal prep, right? That's going to keep you on track completely towards your goals. So the night before, taking an hour, half an hour out of your evening to create some food that you can put in some Tupperwares and bring with you. If you can do that and it's a short trip, sound, right? You're going to be fully on plan. There's nothing to worry about. Um, but that is probably more like the bodybuilder side of things. And if that's not something you want to do, then that's also sound, where it would move to the next, which is macro matching. So macro matching is pretty easily done through MyFitnessPal on your phone, where you can, yeah, literally just get MyFitnessPal. You can get it as a free app, and then put your macros into the nutrition bit. Can all be explained in more detail if you ever want. Just send me a message. And then, yeah, obviously with the select macros that you are following, presuming you are following macros, that are given to you on a meal plan, or you just know your macros. And if not, let's be honest, it's easy enough. Put into ChatGPT. I'm an 88 kilo 19-year-old who lifts 5 times a week on this tool. I do this much exercise. Give me a solid set of macros for someone who is trying to achieve fat loss, right? It's probably going to do quite a good job, to be fair. Is it going to be able to give you the accountability to follow those macros? No. So that's when things like macro matching comes into play, where you can literally just log it on MyFitnessPal. If you're in an event, if you're at an event or something where there's sort of food around, then just trying your best to sort of get as close to those macros as possible. Whether that's meal deals that are relatively, healthy, clean, getting some chicken breast from Tesco and just having some rice cakes on the side. Again, it's all pretty dependent on how serious you are about your goals. But yeah, macro matching is a super easy thing that you can bring with you, literally just with your phone, that keeps you somewhat on track. Say you were having 300 carb, 60 fat, and 200 protein, around 3,000 calories. And you could bring that with you so easily, and get it done throughout the day super, super easily. Again, Tesco's, there's a Tesco like every 5 minutes in England, like you'll be fine. And if you're at like an event thing, then it's probably going to go more to the wise food choices thing, because it might be like you don't really want to whack out your thing and start counting your calories. Again, you should avoid all fear of judgment from other people, because at the end of the day, they're not going to understand your goals, and that's fine because they're your fucking goals. So who gives a shit? And I've had so much of that in the past. People laughing at me when I'm eating out of a Tupperware at college and stuff like that. And look at me now. So, who's right to be doing that? And ultimately, people get it twisted with food, right? Food has been made to be some sort of a pleasurable, fucking gluttonous thing where it's like everything has to be amazing that you put in your mouth. When no, food is fuel. That's all it is. Yeah, you can have nice, tasty food, but at the end of the day, it's just fuel. So think of it that way. So yeah, moving on from macro matching to wise food choices. Like I said, if you're in at an event or something, then obviously just thinking to yourself, plate, do I want to pile on a shit ton of fats, a shit ton of sauces that I don't know what are in them, and a shit ton of bad carbs, processed carbs, pastries, fucking donuts, bad sort of like bread rolls and processed meats? No, probably not. Do I want to think, right, let's get the majority of my plate loaded up on protein, and preferably clean protein, beef mince, chicken, tuna, etc. Yeah, I want to start with that because a protein is going to make me feel nice and satiated, nice and full. And then probably opt secondly for a good carb source. So yeah, your pasta, your rice, anything like that, noodles, etc. You can then probably load that on your plate pretty easily. Not it's quite hard to get fat off of eating rice or like potatoes. It's very easy to get fat off of eating things like pastries and donuts. So just thinking, be wise with your carb source choice, wise with your food choice, and then yeah, fats top off. So maybe some things like peanut butter, olive oils. All of these things are probably, if you're at an event or something, going to be like involved in the food already, like sauces and stuff like that. So obviously not trying to add any additionals if possible. Things like cheese and stuff, I would try and stay away from realistically. Is it going to serve you much benefit? That's what you've always got to be thinking. Is this mouthful that's going to taste really nice going to serve me too much benefit towards my future goals? If not, then reconsider. And then you've got your being a dick, which is using being off plan, being away as an excuse to eat 5,000 calories in one sitting, feel like shit the next day, not train, feel fucked, and completely ruin your goals, which can happen, especially if you're in like a fat loss phase or something like that, where you've been quite restrictive. Then giving yourself that freedom can be quite overwhelming. And if you choose to be a dick, then that's your loss. And you know, you can fuck yourself completely, throw yourself out of routine, gain a lot of excess body fat. And just feel shit in general, etc., etc. So yeah, that's the sort of scale I'd follow. Obviously, super ideal, ideal, kind of ideal, and then you're being a dick. So and then obviously everything in between. I'm sure you can sort of figure that out for yourself. Cool. Training. So it's a little bit less strict when it comes to this, in my opinion. Sort of dependent on how much training benefits your mental health. Personally, for me, if I go away on a holiday, time away, etc., I'll always find time to train because I enjoy training. And along with that, with an inevitable probably increase in food, especially if you're on a holiday or something like that. Then I find training a really good way to just help me think, yeah, I'm actually probably pushing this food to the right places. You know, at least I'm sort of serving a purpose right now instead of just eating a shit ton of food, sitting on the sun lounger, sipping cocktails and becoming fat, mate. So it takes 2 weeks of not training roughly to see any muscle loss whatsoever. So straight away, don't let that sort of be a thing. I see so many young kids being like, oh, I'm going to lose muscle if I don't train for a week. It's not how it works. You're going to lose fullness in your muscle. Yeah, too right. Your muscle will feel less full because you won't have those glycogen stores and like pushing around in the muscle, water retention, just sort of the pump, the general like underlying pump. Obviously there's a bit of science to it, but I won't get into that. You will lose a bit of that pretty quickly, depending on how good you are with your diet. But yeah, with training, that stays the exact same, and you'll be fine. So if you want to train, train. If you don't, fine. You know, 2 weeks. Obviously, if you're going traveling or something, then you have got to think, yeah, I want to try and train here and there. Obviously, not leaving it any longer than 2 weeks because then you will see muscle loss, which is actually pretty negative if you think about it. But stepping out of routine, dropping training completely could lead to various issues, such as finding it way harder to get into routine when you're back, lack of natural endorphins and dopamine provided through training, usually in your usual routine, and then a lack of expenditure with an increase in food. And all of those can be pretty negative. Like I said, you know, if you're eating a lot more food on holiday and you're not training, you're probably going to see a decent amount of fat gain quite quickly. And alongside that, yeah, it's the sort of mental side of things, right? We all know that training is super, super beneficial for mental health. Even going on the days where you don't want to go, even if it's not the best session, just staying in that routine and smashing sessions is super, super beneficial. So just remembering that and thinking, if I step out of routine and completely drop training, is it going to be beneficial? If it's one of those scenarios where there's no way you can train, you know, there's not a gym or anything like that, is it the end of the world? No, not at all. You know, 2 weeks for any muscle loss. So do not stress, my friend. And then recovery. So this one's way, way, way overlooked, big time. So sleep is way more important than you think. This is mega. Poor sleep significantly impairs decision making by affecting cognitive functions, emotional regulation, and judgment, often leading to increased risk taking and slower reaction times. So if you have a really shit night's sleep, yeah, then the next day your decision making, your aligning your actions towards your goals is going to be a lot poorer compared to if you've had a solid night of sleep and recovery, therefore possibly leading to a good amount of negative actions and yeah, throwing you out of line with your goals. So whatever you do, keep poor sleep to a minimum if you can, and try, excuse me, make up for it. And be aware that you could be in a poor state to align your actions with your goals the day after poor sleep. So yeah, if you do have a shoddy night's sleep, you know, a holiday where you've been out, you've had some fun, and you've got back really late, and you need to wake up early for something, just think to yourself, I'm probably going to be in quite a fragile state to make good decisions today, so I need to really think hard about that and just try and get back into routine as soon as possible. Is mega, definitely pretty mega. So, in summary, your main focus should be the reason why you have stepped out of routine: socials, family, holidays, resets, etc. And then remembering your why, super, super important. I always go on about this. Why are you chasing those goals? Do your actions align with those goals in holiday mode or social mode, etc.? So obviously what I mean by that is your actions aligning to your goals in normal day-to-day routine should be pretty strict if you actually want to get anywhere. In holiday mode, it can definitely be less strict. Right, you're on holiday, don't be a dick, don't be that one guy who's just sat yeah, but still aligning it to your actions as much as possible. So sort of adapting it into holiday mode, but still aligning your actions. Like I said, just not being a dick. It might not be perfect, but the pain of regret is always worse than the pain of discipline. Yeah, most definitely. So take this in. 10 times out of 10, 100 times out of 100, 1,000 times out of 1,000. The pain of regret is going to be so much worse than the pain of discipline. So if you do end up binging out, eating a shit ton of food, smashing a bunch of beers, smashing a bunch of Jaeger bombs when you're in a fat loss phase, you're going to wake up and you're going to feel a lot worse than if you just said, nah, sorry, boys, I'm just going to have a few drinks and, a couple of slices of pizza. Yeah, 100%. So just don't be a dick and remember that for the rest of your life. And as a last note, people, whether that's your friends, teachers, or even family members, may not understand your goals and the actions taken to get you closer to them. And that's fine. That is completely fine. Oh my God, the amount of years I've spent explaining to people, which I shouldn't have even bothered, why I'm eating this food, why I'm doing this, why I'm training like that, why I'm doing this so much. Because I have fucking goals. You might not have goals. I don't care. You can be fat. No, I don't give a shit. You have goals. And if you want to get to those goals, you have to align your actions. And people aren't going to understand. My family still don't understand half the shit I do. I think they're just about getting onto it. But yeah, realistically, people won't understand. That's completely fine. They're your goals. They're not their goals. So who cares? Eat out the fucking Tupperware. Eat the healthy food. Make the wise choices. Be better than them. It just makes you better. Just puts you steps ahead. They might not know it, but who cares? And then an additional note on top of that. Just thinking of it now, to be fair. When it comes to alcohol, yeah, just making the wise choices. Exact same thing. Do I need to smash 10 beers and realistically binge drink? That's what drinking is, right? Is people view drinking as getting super fucking drunk, and that's just binge drinking, which is not beneficial whatsoever. You get past a certain limit where then you're just overly drunk and you just feel like shit during the night, and then the next day you feel even worse. So could you opt for having a few clean spirits, tequila, lime sodas, few of them that makes you feel quite nice, more sociable, and enjoyable, and then get home, smash like a litre or two of water to make sure you feel all right, and then wake up feeling pretty fine. Yeah, that's probably a way better option. That's probably going to be way more ideal in terms of sort of balance compared to just binge drinking and completely throwing yourself off the rails. It's the exact same thing with food. Just don't be a dick, like I said with the pizza. Two whole pizza and a bunch of beers feel like shit. Couple pizzas, couple pizzas, couple slices of pizza, and a few tequila soda limes. You're gonna be in a way better position with the option B. So yeah, just remember that, and never let it stress you out too much because we have one life. Don't be a dick, and live how you want, as long as you align those actions to those goals. And if you don't, just remember that's your fault, right? They're your goals. If you don't do what's necessary to get there, it's your fault. And if you have that mindset of, oh, but it's only one day, it can't be that bad, then keep that mindset, but you won't get very far. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully this has been helpful. If you have taken anything away from this, then drop me a message. And if you want me to break anything down in more detail, then also drop me a message. Yeah, at BFITTT on Instagram if you need to. So yeah, hope you enjoyed and smash another week of fucking getting towards your goals and smashing it. Yeah, thank you very much.